Good morning. This is the meeting for the St. Louis Municipal Finance Corporation Board of Directors, special public meeting. And my name is LaTanya Kenner, President and Deputy Comptroller for Finance and Development. And I would like to go to Paul Payne and have all of the Board of Directors introduce themselves.
Thank you. Good morning, LaTanya. This is Paul Payne. I'm the Budget Director. And Treasurer of the corporation, particularly. That's what you're looking for.
Thanks, Paul.
And I'm Sheena Hamilton, City Councilor for the City of St. Louis and Secretary.
Thanks, Sheena.
I'm Nancy Cross. I'm the Executive Director of Operations for the City of St. Louis, and I work out of the Mayor's office.
Okay, and Jay, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Jay Nelson, Chief of Staff to the President of the Board of Aldermen, recently appointed to this position. And I'm looking forward to serving with everyone here today.
Thank you. We also have guests, Kitty Ratcliffe, Charles Salisbury, Karen Jordan. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Kitty Ratcliffe, President of Explore St. Louis.
Good morning, Karen Jordan, Managing Partner of Denton's US LLP for St. Louis.
Good morning, Charles Salisbury at Salisbury and Associates. We serve as co-bond counsel with Denton's for the corporation.
Great, thank you all. This will be a very short meeting. But on item B for the agenda, Jay, even though you have introduced yourself, I do want to recognize you because we did receive written designation that you will represent President of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green. And if you want to have words, you can have them at this time.
I'm just looking forward to learning and being able to support the President's office in this role. And I look forward to serving with everyone.
Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number C, review of grant proposal available through the State of Missouri Economic Development Department. I'm going to turn this over to Kitty because this is just discussion for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Nice to see everybody. Appreciate your time this morning. As we were talking before we started the meeting, everybody is really busy. So we'll try to keep this short, but want to give you an update on the status of the property that you own, which is the convention center, the Cervantes Convention Center, and just talk to you about a little grant proposal that we've put in there. I'm going to share my screen, and I'll hopefully do this well. Let's see here. There we go. Go back up. There we go. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Great. So this is current. We took this just yesterday. This is the status of what used to be the Quadrani Garage, which just for the benefit of Jay, who's new onto the group here, was a privately owned garage that was built in 1960, that when the convention center was expanded in the early 90s, the design of the convention center actually wrapped around the property that was existing and that was across the street from the original convention center, because the private owners wanted more money than the property was really worth, and the city wasn't willing to pay that. So, but the problem was, of course, that there was absolutely no incentive for them to do anything with the garage, and it deteriorated over time. It was not, really well designed to have only one ingress and egress on 7th Street, because it was enclosed on 3 sides by the convention center. But as you can tell from this image, it never really touched the convention center. So when the convention center was built, they built it around it, but not connected to it. And it was in pretty bad condition. The building Division Inspector Frank Oswald, his folks actually condemned the garage and it has been closed for a while. In the process of doing the bond issue to do the expansion on the convention center, Latanya Kenner and Comptroller Green were able to put aside some funds in order to be able to purchase the garage. And so while it's not in the development plan for what we call the AC Next Gen project, because when the ordinances for the city and the county were done in 2018 and 2019, the city didn't have ownership of the garage. So the development plan's not included, but the fact that we were able to get it acquired and have it now become a part of the convention center and property for development in the future is a real bonus, because we've been living with that for a long time, and it was dangerous and an eyesore. So as you can see, the garage itself is almost down. The little piece that you see on the left, vertical piece that's still there, is just a part of the elevator bank tower. That is the last piece that will come down. The site will be cleared. And as I said, there's no funds in the project to actually build anything new there. So I've spoken with Latanya, and we spoke with the attorneys and got concurrence that what we will do, we spoke with our board, we will use some of the city preservation funds that you give us every year to make to be able to maintain the convention center. We'll use that to do a temporary paving and fencing job, and use that for staff and contractor parking that we desperately need during this construction timeframe. And we'll charge everybody to monthly parkers, and we'll reimburse the preservation fund from that, from those collections every month. So we will pay that back. Probably take about 2 years to pay that back, but the whole building will be under construction during the time, and we need that parking. And you'll see why in just a minute. So we'll reimburse that fund. And so it's a pretty good plan. We will in the future want to talk about some kind of development of this site, but for now it is it's gotten rid of an eyesore and a dangerous piece of property, and it's providing us with the temporary parking that we need during the construction time frame. So we're pretty happy about where we are with that right now. So here's the second of two progress photos that I'm going to show you in order to keep this this meeting short. As you will recall, and Jay, just for your edification, we have started the AC Next Gen expansion project. We broke it into two parts. This is the first part, which we call Project 1. It is the building of an expansion of the exhibit hall, and that is the site that you see in the foreground. That is well underway. The other piece that you can see to it behind the new block is on the left side of your screen, which is to the north of the convention center, is the area for the loading docks, the original loading docks for the convention center, which are getting rebuilt and redesigned as a part of the expansion of the exhibit hall, which will have new loading docks as well. So we will end up with more than double the number of loading docks that the building has always had since it was built in 1977. And those loading docks will all go directly into the exhibit hall space. But what used to be on the exhibit hall site was a parking garage. And also, we always had staff and contractors parking in the loading dock areas, and none of that is available now for parking, which is why having the available former Quadrani site as a surface lot for our staff for monthly parking is a real need at the moment, and is working out really well. What you're seeing in the foreground in terms of the expansion there will eventually be a 71,000 almost 72,000 square foot new exhibit hall that will connect to the existing exhibit hall wall, which you see there. That white block is the west wall of the convention center. That wall will come out, and will connect into the new exhibit space. All of that part of the project is expected to be completed at the very end of 2023 or into the first, January, or maybe a little bit into February of 2024. But we're working very hard daily with the contractor, with the Board of Public Service, which is managing the project for the city, for all of you, and with Kwame Building Company, Kwame Construction, which is the project manager, the program manager for us and for BPS. They're serving two clients. They're serving BPS and us in the process, working with the architects and the engineers. So that's all coming along nicely. So leading into that is just the rest of the project, which the second part of that will be the eventual conversion of some of the existing exhibit halls into a ballroom, and then the development of a park. Because of the delays in getting the actual funding in place from the county, this project was held up a bit, and as a result of that, the cost just went up. So this first part of the project that you're looking at, while we have the funds to complete it, and while it will be completed, it actually ate into the funds that we had for project 2. And so we don't have enough funds in place right now for project 2. Madam Chairwoman will get into the draft resolution that I know she shared with you, that we will, we will be looking forward to receiving some additional funds from the NFL settlement in the very near future. And that will help us with those cost overruns. It's still not enough. And so this is a grant proposal that I submitted. The deadline for it was last Wednesday, so we submitted it at about 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. The proposals were due by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday night, so we got in just by the skin of our teeth. And it is a grant proposal based on some funds that are available through the state of Missouri, the use of their ARPA funds for tourism asset development. It's a very minimal amount in terms of this project overall, but any funds that we can get will be helpful. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to receive these grant funds. And the way that the state of Missouri wrote their qualifications, they specified that convention centers and stadiums were not eligible projects. So our focus on this is the park, which I've just got a couple of light slides to show you, but the park is being developed on what is currently a surface parking lot to the west of the convention center, between 9th and 10th Street, east-west, and between Convention Plaza or Del Mar, just to orient you to where Convention Plaza is, that is actually Del Mar, on the north, and Lucas Avenue on the south. So it's a full city block, plus some street connections into 9th Street, because 9th Street will be closed. So we end up with about an 80,000 square foot new park space that is being designed as a multi-use, multi-purpose event space. And here's just a layout of what that space will look like. To orient you again, Convention Plaza, that street is to the north, Lucas to the south, 10th to the west, and what is currently 9th Street to the east, which will be closed. And it will form an event space outside of the convention center that is property that you own, that we will manage as a part of the convention center, but that can be programmed by convention groups that want to use that space, but also can be programmed for other uses. And so if the Marriott Grand or the Courtyard Marriott or the Holiday Inn or the Magnolia or any of the hotels in the immediate area have in-house groups that want to program and rent out this space, we've designed it and we intend for it to be able to be used not only for groups in the convention center, but other groups as well, including when we have the availability, community events that would serve the neighborhood very well. And the neighborhood includes businesses like T-Rex, which is immediately to the south of the park on Lucas Avenue there, or the Globe building, or the Square building, or others that are in that immediate area. It also includes residential buildings, including Banker's Loft, which sits right next to T-Rex, so is also immediately to the south of this park. Plus, there are many individual residents to the north on Cole Street, and also to the west along Washington Avenue and other streets in the neighborhood. And then lastly, as I said, to some of the hospitality businesses in the area, in addition to the convention center. And so this has been designed with multiple features in it that are purpose designed for events. The park will be filled with underground access to power. There will be lighting throughout. There are accessible pathways and ramps throughout. There are spaces that have been designed specifically to host different types of event spaces. And so what you're looking at here on the left side of the park, you can see where 2 large event tents have been put. They will not be permanent. That permanent space will be an event lawn, but all of the utilities will be put in the ground so that we can run power up for those events. We can also put a stage there, but we have also designed it so that on the east side, it's hard to see with this rendering, but you can see some little angled vertical lines. Those are actually raised fixed seats for an informal amphitheater that faces down onto a flat plaza where you could put a stage, you could put a podium and a microphone, you could do events in there. So it's really designed to be able to do community festivals as well as convention and other programmable events. And then throughout, there'll be native plantings. We've worked with local folks. Arbalope is a company that has helped us to design this. So there'll be native plantings that will not only be native species for our area and various seasonal plants, but also those that will provide habitat for monarch butterflies, for bees and birds. So we've really taken a very holistic look at what this space will be that will serve the convention center and will also serve the neighborhood in a variety of different purposes. So to the grant, the state of Missouri has allocated about 14 million, not about, they've allocated $14 million to a category of destinations around the state that includes us, Kansas City, Branson, Springfield. We're all in that pool vying for $14 million between all of those big cities. They've allocated different amounts for smaller destinations around the state. They have the maximum amount that any one grant can be is $3.5 million. The minimum is $1 million. And you have to have a match to that. So I know because we were contacted by many of our tourism partners in the region. I know that the zoo submitted an application. The Gateway Arch Park Foundation submitted one. The Sheldon submitted one. The City of Pacific, which is in St. Louis County, submitted one. The National Blues Museum submitted one. So even in St. Louis alone, much less in Kansas City or Branson and Springfield, there are a lot of grant applications that have been submitted. For that reason, I kept our request at $1 million. Just figured we'd have a better shot at getting something versus trying to get the maximum $3.5 million. As I said, the deadline was at midnight last Wednesday night. They have said in their process that they will be making their decisions in January. We should know relatively soon. The total, just FYI for you, the total expected amount for the development of the park is about 4 million, little less than 4 million. The estimate that the architects did for us, their estimators had it at about 3.7, but nothing is coming in at what they estimate. So we were, estimating that's probably a 4 million deal. But if we can get 1 million, it will help us a lot with moving the park project forward as a separate piece. So the only complication to this is if we get the funds, because we submitted the grant application, we will have to manage that. We'll have to work with BPS on how we do that, but we'll have to be responsible to the state for the reporting on those expenditures, and it'll have to come through us. The total project, again, that we need is a lot more than this 1 million, and is a lot more than the funds that we have, and even more than the 30 million from the NFL settlement. So we will be coming back to you with what we think that number is going to be for us in terms of the development. But for now, we're in a good place. We're very grateful that we were able to get 30 million off the top in the NFL settlement, and hoping to see that come through in the next few weeks, and hoping to be able to get this grant that will help us with the park. I think that's about as brief as I can be, and give you the information that you need to have. But if you have any questions, I am very glad to try to answer them.
Kitty, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the Board of Directors?
Hey, Kitty, the park was always part of your original proposal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay, that's what I thought. So this is something that.
Yes, I'm just not sure that you actually saw the details
Okay.
on this, because when we had that approved, we didn't have any of the design work done.
Right, you're able to flush it out now. Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
All right. Kitty, do you actually have a diagram? I know we have a picture of the front of the convention center, the ballroom.
Yeah, I didn't actually put that in this
That's okay.
little PowerPoint for sharing the screen.
Okay,
But I'd be happy to just send an email with it that
That would be
everybody
great.
can keep afterwards.
that would be great. Can you send that to the directors
Yes.
so they can see the design from Pinterest? If there are no questions to Kitty, thank you for that review and update, and keep us abreast of the grant award when it is announced in January.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay. As far as other business, other or new business at this time, we will have to select a second vice president, because per our bylaws in section 18, the officers of the corporations shall include a president, 2 vice presidents, a treasurer, and a secretary, who shall be chosen by vote of a majority of the directors in office. So that's one item under other business, new business. The other item under other and new business will be, at some point in time, we will have to have another meeting after the funds are received from the RSA, and you have the resolution for your review. And when those funds are received, we will call another meeting. So are there any questions or any items that we need to add to new business at this time? Okay, if there are no comments or any questions, I will request or entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second,
It's been moved and second that we adjourn the meeting. Can I take a roll call vote? Nancy,
Aye.
Sheena,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jay,
Aye.
aye. It has been motion second that the meeting be adjourned at 10:12 a.m. Thank you for your time. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and be safe.